Okay, conventional with single stream, manual, and automated. We checked with the vendors, we checked with statistics, and if we introduce that kind of method, how much can we divert, how much more? Everybody stated, don't count more than 8%. So that could bring us to 24% of recycling. If we would go to automated system in solid waste and stick with dual stream manual recycling or single stream manual or automated, again, the answer was don't count for more than 17% additional what you have. 16, 17 brings us 33%, which is already pretty high level of recycling. If we go to pay-as-you-throw, this will be the highest rate of return, almost 38%. The statistic shows there could be increased to 20 or 22% what we have right now. So now, what is the single stream recycling? Single stream recycling helps to divert the waste to recycling by convenience. You don't need to use additional bags. You can put everything in one container if you want, and you can commingle. So it is convenient for residents, so that's why it helps to increase recycling by this 8%, but unfortunately it's higher cost. What we realize from these proposals that, for example, it is a new trend in industry. However, there are only like 3 companies right now, big companies that processing single stream recycling, and they're located in Massachusetts. We don't have them yet in New Hampshire. So what we found out that the cost is higher. The cost is higher than a dual stream. If we will go to automated system for solid waste, which limits the volume. There could be 2 ways, limits the weight and limits the volume. You could attach the chip on the containers and they could be automatically weighted, or you could just look at the volume. Now, diverts, again, waste to recycling because you limited the volume by providing fixed size container. I believe it's much neater looking. When you look at this on the street, you have a very uniform look. You don't have birds and animals picking up all the different bags, ripping them apart, winds blowing. Containers are much heavier than regular garbage cans, that they resist the wind a little bit better so they don't roll on the street. It is definitely a new direction of industry because they will go to automated system. It's it's only one driver and less injury on the job. And unfortunately, it's a cost of the containers that offsets how much you divert. So then you have to compare those numbers. If those numbers work, it's fine. But the next slide will introduce, I'll talk about the next system. The next program is pay-as-you-throw. Also diverts the waste to recycling because now it costs you more if you want to dispose more. Unfortunately, there's administrative costs assigned to it. You have to buy the bags, you have to manage that program, you have to collect the money, and when we look at us, around 140, for size of our towns, around $140,000 to manage that system. Now, also distributes the cost very fairly, because if you use more, you pay more. So somebody who's using very little doesn't pay that much. So this is the most fair, the fairly distributed cost. But there's also imposition to the residents. You have to go in the store to buy the bags. If you don't have inventory at home, then you have to run, or I don't have it, whatever. Now, the bags are still on the site, on the curb, so you have the mess with animals and birds. And cost of the bags replaces basically taxes with fees. Because no matter what people will say, well, it will pay for itself, somebody will have to pay for it. Residents will pay by buying the bags. And I will, a little bit next slide, I will tell how much.
Well, just for clarification, if you use these bags, can you still use the barrels? Or does it have to just sit in the bag and that's it?
No, you could, but it would not, yes, you could do it. So, you could. Now, solid...
Right, okay.
Solid waste methods. This is kind of like a summary of the solid waste method that we put it in a proposal and how it stacks up against each other. Conventional, residents supply their own containers, and you can dispose as much as you want. So it's unlimited. That's why it's the highest cost for the town, and it's less reversion to recycling. Now, automated it's additional cost for containers. There's definitely a new direction in industry that we know in the future that's where the industry is going to go. You have less injuries to personnel who's doing this, and the truck driver doesn't get out of the truck. And this definitely, by limiting the volume, you reduce the disposal cost for the town overall. Pay as you throw, very similar. You have a fee for the bags. By doing this, you divert more to the recycling, and you reduce that volume of the solid waste, and reduces disposal cost as overall for the town. Now, recycling. Recycling, we can have a dual stream, which we have right now in town, which is residents can separate the items, or they have to separate the items, cardboard and the paper from the rest of recyclables. And unfortunately, what we saw, that there are smaller tipping fees to some vendors for, not unfortunately, fortunately for us, there are smaller tipping fees, disposal fee of processing of this method, because it's already pre-separated. Now, for single stream, it is more convenient for the residents. You don't have to separate. It definitely increases the recycling by that 8% that I was talking before. But when you look from the numbers that I will have in the next few slides, you will see it's a higher cost for the town. Now, this slide is the summary of the summary that you have over there. This 4 pages was summary of tabulation showing and now this is the final summary showing our analysis. And what I did here, we did all together, and she put it together, the numbers, that cost for 5 years. And we used conventional method. We use for solid waste, first column is for solid waste, then you have recycling. And then for solid waste, we added the numbers for the collection and tonnage. For tonnage, we used current tonnage, 9,667. You have to pick some number. Instead going for some projections to see what's going to happen in the next year, 5 years, let's see, compare the numbers. So these are not the budgetary numbers, but these are the numbers to compare the different methods. Now, we went in the solid waste from the highest to the lowest using the collection and the tonnage. Don't look yet at the last line. I will explain the last one, why the last one jumps. Now, for recycling, we had to match from our contract and our proposal. As I said it before, depends which method you pick, the price is affected. Because if you divert more, the cost for recycling is going to go more. Because vendors know there will be more garbage on that side or material on that side, so disposal price will go higher. So the last column is the summary of our 5-year cost. Now, as you can see, it varies from 9,600,000, the highest, to the lowest, 7,597,000. Now, if we will leave just like we have right now in town, first line, conventional, the cost will be $8,356,000. If we would convert recycling to single stream and still leave manual, we can divert 8% to recycling. That's why the cost of solid waste is dropping down from 6.5 to 6.2. But you could see immediately that the recycling is going up. Now, if you go from conventional, the same 8% recycling, but if you want to go to automatic, the price increases drastically because now you have to pay for containers. So you have huge difference between 1.8 or 1.8 to 3.3. So for convenience of recycling in a single stream, it costs you almost $800,000, but the cost of automatic is huge. So now when we went to automate it, because you will recycle, you will limit the volume, so you will definitely recycle more. So I look at the numbers, okay, 5.9 for automated, $1 million. Now we match that with a dual stream, again, because it's a more diversion than 8% 17, so that it's slightly higher, but not as high as the 2.6 on a single stream. So if I look at this from 1.8 went to 2.0. Now, if you go to the single stream, it went again $600,000 more. So for convenience of commingling and say to the residents, okay, put in one bag, don't mix, you can mix it, it's a 600,000